What is up, fight fans? This is DJC Combat, and in 10 days' time goes down the pay-per-view in Salt Lake City, Utah, UFC 307, headlined by Alex Pereira versus Khalil Rountree. I hate the fact that they're going back to Salt Lake City, Utah, because they have not really gotten good results in terms of how fighters have handled the altitude. A lot of fighters who are known for good cardio are gassing out. A lot of fighters are underperforming because of this. They should honestly be in Vegas or anywhere but Utah. But I want to give my breakdown and prediction for this main card. So we got Alex Pereira versus Khalil Rountree as the main event. The co-main event, we got the return of the Vixen, 2 years in the making, against Raquel Pennington, a rivalry and a fight that's 11 years in the making. And you got Jose Aldo as the feature fight against Mario Bautista. Kayla Harrison in her second UFC fight taking on Ketlen Vieira. And then Kevin Holland kicking off the main card against Dolidze. And I'm going to start with that one. Kevin Holland versus Dolidze. I'm going to go with Dolidze to win this fight. Kevin Holland, I don't think is that good at middleweight. He's more vulnerable to the bigger, stronger grapplers up a weight class. I just think Dolidze is going to be one of those bad stylistic matchups for him. Dolidze has very solid grappling, very good takedowns. Kevin Holland, not known for the strongest takedown defense in the world. His only chance in this fight is standing. The moment Dolidze gets to his hips and starts looking for takedowns, he will get those takedowns. He'll be able to hold down Kevin Holland and probably ride him out to a decision. Kevin Holland at welterweight is more effective when it comes to takedown defense and getting up from takedowns and fighting off his back, because he kind of has a bit of a size advantage down at 170, but at middleweight, not so much. So yeah, I got Dolidze winning this one by a decision. I think Holland should have stuck to the welterweight division, if I'm being honest. And then Kayla Harrison versus Ketlen Vieira. This should be a very, very interesting matchup. Ketlen Vieira is an underdog, plus 475 underdog. Kayla is a minus 800 favorite. I don't know if the odds should be that huge. I don't know if there should be that big of a gap. I know Kayla is the favorite and should win. She is unstoppable, but she's not unbeatable. She did lose to Larissa Pacheco, who is kind of similar to Ketlen Vieira in ways. Larissa Pacheco is a big, physical, and strong, well-rounded Brazilian, dangerous on the feet, dangerous in the grappling. And Ketlen Vieira, I don't know. Ketlen Vieira is also pretty physical. She's also powerful. She's also strong. She can also grapple well. She has good takedown defense at 92%. So I don't know, man. She might make Kayla Harrison work for those takedowns. But I am going to pick Kayla because I do think Harrison will be able to get takedowns on Ketlen Vieira one way or another. They just might not be easy, but she should be able to get her down. And she should be able to get the better end of the grappling exchanges, because I used Larissa Pacheco as an example, but she was still able to get takedowns on Larissa and dominate 2 out of the 3 fights they had, and was winning the early parts of the fight in the third fight before she gassed out. This is a 3-round fight, so in a 3-round setting, I think Kayla Harrison should handily win the earlier rounds with the grappling. Maybe if it was a 5-rounder, Ketlen might have a chance, because I don't know if Kayla's going to finish her on the ground. She's definitely not finishing her on the feet, and on the ground, Ketlen's never been finished from bottom. Ketlen Vieira has very high-level jiu-jitsu, so I don't see her getting submitted, but she'll probably get blanketed to a decision, I'll say. Now, moving on to the feature fight of the card, Jose Aldo Jr. taking on Mario Bautista. I'm surprised that Jose Aldo is an underdog in this fight. That makes absolutely no sense. If anything, this should be one of the easiest fights on the main card to predict. Jose Aldo is so much better than Mario Bautista. I mean, where is Mario better? He's not better in the boxing against Jose Aldo, not better in the overall striking than Jose Aldo. He's not more powerful than Aldo. He definitely doesn't hold a speed advantage against Aldo. Aldo is way faster than Mario Bautista. If Mario Bautista wants to try and mix it up and grapple, I don't really see that working for him very well because Jose Aldo has amazing takedown defense and Mario is not anywhere near close to being the best wrestler who Jose Aldo will have ever fought. Jose Aldo held his own against the past few bantamweight champions we've had. He had a very competitive fight with Peter Yan in a title fight, former champion. And he held his own against Merab. And if that fight was at sea level, there's a good chance that he could have even beaten Merab. I feel like a big part of why he underperformed against Dvalishvili, part of it is because, Merab is Merab. Merab is him. Merab is that good. But Aldo could have done so much better if they were not at altitude because that really affected the way Aldo fought, the way he approached the fight. And he's at altitude again. So could that affect him? I don't know, because Mario Bautista's not a Merab who's like a cardio freak. And Aldo's already fought at altitude before, so he'll probably be more prepared this time around to fight at altitude. So he might not be as affected. And we may just see a better version of Aldo at Salt Lake City, Utah, at altitude than what we saw in 2022, 2 years ago against Merab. Also considering, like I said, Mario is not on that level that Merab Dvalishvili is. He's not as smothering as Merab. So I think Aldo's just going to look much better. I think he's going to look the way he did in his last fight against Jonathan Martinez and get a pretty easy decision win. He's going to show levels. Mario's not even ranked. There's not even any point in this matchup because Aldo really has nothing to gain, but he kind of has a bit to lose because if he loses this fight, he gets beaten by an unranked guy who then gets to take his ranking spot and make a name off the legend Aldo. But if Aldo wins, again, just another free win, pointless win, but he doesn't really get anything out of it other than winning a fight. But if he wins this fight, man, I want to see Jose Aldo get given a highly ranked opponent somewhere in the top 5 because he's been talking about making another run at the title in bantamweight. So give him someone around the top 7, top 5, and if not, give him Dominic Cruz. We've been waiting for that legend versus legend matchup. But yeah, Aldo's going to win this. I think he has this one in the bag. And if he somehow manages to lose, he should retire. All right, now moving on into the co-main event of the evening. Julianna, the Venezuelan vixen Peña, is back after 2.5 years, and she's getting an automatic title shot against the new champion, Raquel Rocky Pennington. These two have had a rivalry dating back to 2013, and now the stars are aligning that they finally get to lock horns. They finally get to settle it in the octagon. But does Julianna Peña succeed on this comeback? I really want Julianna Peña to win, man. I've been waiting 2.5 years to see Julianna Peña return to action ever since losing her title to Amanda Nunes. I've been expecting to see her again in 2023. She took so much time off. She held out a year waiting for a trilogy with Amanda that then never happened because then she got injured. So then she's out even longer and then didn't even come back earlier this year in Toronto because she was still recovering. So now that's even more time off. And Raquel Pennington has been active and she's been winning. She's on a 6-fight win streak. Whereas Julianna Peña, her last 4 fights before this layoff, it's been a very inconsistent win-to-loss ratio. Win one on her return from her maternity leave, then lose another after her comeback win, lose to Jermaine, beats McMahon, beats Nunes, loses to Nunes, doesn't fight for 2 years. She's inconsistent and she's been out. So, unfortunately, I cannot pick Julianna Peña to win this fight, as much as it breaks my heart. She's coming back against a consistent and active and formidable opponent and a world champion. As much as I do not like Raquel Pennington, as much as I've even downplayed her as a fighter, I have to admit, Raquel is relatively good. She's the best worst fighter in the division. It's like she's not that good, but somehow manages to win every single time. But what makes Raquel Pennington so difficult to deal with is she's so effective almost everywhere the fight goes. She has really good boxing. She has a boxing advantage against Julianna Peña, more technical on the feet. But then even in the grappling, where Julianna Peña really excels, Raquel Pennington has underrated grappling. She has good takedown defense. She could defend takedowns of Peña. In the clinch, Raquel Pennington is very strong. And she can even get takedowns of her own. And Julianna Peña has like 23% takedown defense. So I would not be surprised if Raquel out-grapples her. She could win this fight on the feet. She could win this fight in the clinch like she did against Miesha Tate. And she can also get takedowns if she needs to against Julianna Peña. And could just blanket Peña throughout the rounds if she needs to. And I know Julianna Peña is good off her back. She is dangerous with submissions, but Raquel Pennington is very heavy on top. And I think she'll have good enough positional awareness to be able to avoid any submissions of Julianna Peña. And in moments may stand back up if she needs to. And even if she does, that's okay. Because like I said, I think she holds an advantage in the striking over Julianna Peña. Like I said, she's got a technical advantage, an accuracy advantage, and even better defense on the feet. So I think she'll have no problem dealing with the wild brawling style of Julianna Peña. I could see her nailing her with that jab, piecing her up with her boxing, defending takedowns of Peña. Even if she gets taken down, I think she'll get right back up, get her own takedowns, and like I said, even just control Peña against the fence like she does to a lot of her opponents. I just think Julianna Peña is going to struggle everywhere this fight goes. And on top of everything, along with the ring rust and everything that Raquel brings to the table that makes her stylistically difficult for Peña, I think Julianna Peña's biggest weapon, which is her cardio, may not be as big of a factor in this matchup because of where they're fighting. They're fighting at Salt Lake City, Utah, at altitude, and Raquel has an elevation advantage, and she's been preparing accordingly for the altitude, whereas Peña, I think she's yet to head to Salt Lake City, Utah. She might just get there last minute, so she may not be properly acclimated to the climate that they're fighting in. So Julianna's cardio may not be able to help her like it would under any other circumstance, and we might see her gas out of character, which is not going to be good. And I feel like Julianna Peña is going to need her cardio to win this fight. She has to do in this fight what she does to every opponent by pushing a wild pace, wearing them down to be able to rally, to swing the momentum in her favor. But if she cannot do that in this matchup, then I do not see her winning. If this fight was happening at sea level and when Peña was active and even the world champion, then I would pick her to win this fight all the way. But seeing as she hasn't fought since, losing her title to Amanda in dominant fashion, it's been 2 years. She's coming back from a catastrophic injury. It's hard to tell where Peña's going to be at, how she's going to look coming back. Maybe she's evolved during this time off. Maybe she'll come back looking better than ever. Maybe she'll have the comeback of the ages, but I just cannot bank on that being the case. She's going up against an active world champion with momentum and with confidence, and it doesn't help that Peña doesn't have a single win over anybody currently on the UFC roster. And the last two fighters with that statistic they've been losing. Look at Paulo Costa. Look at Colby Covington when he got an undeserved title shot coming off a layoff. He absolutely flopped against Leon Edwards, and I think the same thing, sadly, is going to happen to Julianna Peña. I think she's going to come back, look washed, and lose an uneventful decision to Raquel Pennington, and Raquel keeps the belt, and still, unfortunately, and we may just have to wait until Pennington fights Kayla for her to lose, assuming Kayla doesn't fumble the bag against Ketlen Vieira. But I pray to God that I'm wrong about this one because I really want Peña to win. But we'll see. I mean, she's proven me wrong before. She proved me wrong when she fought for the belt the first time. She could definitely do it again. But now moving on to the main event of the evening, the light heavyweight championship of the world, Alex Poatan Pereira versus Khalil Rountree Jr. This title shot couldn't be any more unwarranted. I mean, what were the UFC thinking when they put together this matchup? This is literally a lamb being sent to the slaughter. Khalil Rountree, yes, is on a 5-fight win streak, but against who? I mean, this guy, okay, he's beat Modestas Bukalkas, leg kick TKO, Carl Robertson. He beat Dustin Jacoby by split decision, a former Glory kickboxer who Alex Pereira absolutely annihilated. Knocked out Chris Dawkins, who is every black man's victim. Knocked out Anthony Smith, who is washed up, a complete can at this point in his career. Whereas Alex Pereira has literally went through a murderer's row at 205. Jan Blachowicz, Yuri Prohaska ×2, beat him both times. Jamal Hill breezed through him in the first round. And now he's taking on Khalil. This just feels like a layup title defense, a free title defense for Alex Pereira. And I do expect a relatively easy win for Alex. I am expecting Alex Pereira to knock out Khalil inside round 1. And I've been saying since this fight got announced that it's not even going to make it to the 1 minute mark. Like, Khalil will probably get finished like in 56 seconds of the fight. Calling it right now. Maybe this will age like milk. Maybe Khalil Rountree ends up pulling the upset, because sometimes in MMA, logic makes absolutely no sense. And I mean, Khalil, in his own right, is very dangerous. We got to give credit to Rountree. He does have knockout power, so there is a chance that if he does get lucky enough and he can get to the chin of Pereira without getting chinned first, maybe he could knock out Alex. It's very possible. But we got to be realistic here. We got to go based off the fact that Alex clearly has a skill advantage in this fight. And he's the champion of the world, the 2-division champion in Glory and in the UFC. Pound for pound number 2 for a reason. I cannot see a version of this where Khalil comes out on top. Yes, the puncher's chance is there on Khalil's side, but I don't see him being able to close the distance effectively without getting caught coming in. And he just doesn't have the accuracy to go with the power to catch someone as high level on the feet as Alex Pereira is. Pereira, he's good with distance management. He's good with rolling with the punches. I think he can see the shots of Khalil coming, and I think he should be able to easily counter him with a left hook. He's so accurate with his punches, with his counters, and I just cannot see Khalil. I just can't see him not getting caught trying to engage with Pereira and make something happen. If he's hesitant and holds back, he'll get picked apart by the more technical striker. If he tries to make it a brawl or a wild fight, he'll get himself knocked out. So in this matchup, he's kind of damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. So Alex Pereira wins this round 1 knockout, left hook, more than likely, and still title defense number 3 for Alex Pereira. And then depending on what happens with Ankalaev Rakic, if Ank fumbles the bag, then there's no clear contender at 205. And by that point, Poatan should move up to heavyweight to challenge for that 3rd belt, because he will have already defended his belt at light heavyweight 3 times. And if Ank is out of the picture, I don't really think Rakic will be deserving of a title shot. But with that being said, That's it for my breakdown and prediction for the main card of UFC 307. Let me know your picks in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and peace out.